We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are New Generation.
Bringing news just for you is Tuesday, January 6th here in Seoul. I'm Lee Soo-jin, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Niall.
Good morning.
Good morning. So Julie's with us.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So it's only the second day of the work week, and for many young people, the new year already feels quite real. A lot of them are probably starting the year with one big wish, which is landing a job. So Niall, do you think this is what people are really wishing for in 2026? And does that take you back to your own early days when you were just starting out?
You know what? Probably a huge wish on many young people's list. And I think I can remember back to when I was hoping to make a living off of broadcasting because I'm a freelancer, so constantly hoping for a flow of jobs. But here I am. And you know what? Just to tell you guys, it was a little bit almost of an accident how I stumbled upon this career, because I started out and I applied for a guest position for a 6 a.m. radio show from Craigslist. For those who don't know, Craigslist is where people get like secondhand furniture, couches, I don't know, but they had a job opening there and here I am. So wishing everyone the best of luck for their 2026 wishes, especially for job searching.
And what's really interesting is I also got my start on the very same show.
You know what? Yeah, we are from the same show.
Because you never know what the future has placed for you. So what about you, Julian?
Yeah, this conversation just takes me back to high school when I remember first looking for a part-time job because I was looking to save up for college. And I remember just that process being so stressful because this was my first time looking for a job. But now when I look back now, that moment really was the beginning of many different chapters of my life where I would graduate college or I'd be in between jobs looking for a new job or new opportunity. And each experience I feel like has been very eye-opening, very really made me focus on what I really wanted out of my career. And currently, I feel like I'm in those phases where I have to make some big decisions for my next step. So for those of you watching, I really do empathize with the struggle of finding a new job. I hear you, I understand how stressful it is, and I'm rooting for you, and I hope this will be a good process for you.
Right, I'm sure a lot of our viewers can also relate to this, the idea that every job search marks a new chapter and that uncertainty is part of the growth. So we're going to talk more about this, but first, let's take a look at the screen. Even though it's a brand new year, for many people, the job hunt continues. As 2026 begins, job seekers are entering the market with both hope and uncertainty, navigating a hiring landscape that's changing faster than ever. Today on News Generation, we take a closer look at this year's employment outlook, the new trends emerging in the job market, and what people are really wishing for when it comes to work and their careers in 2026. As we just saw in the video, for anyone hoping to get hired, there first has to be a job to apply for. So when we look at the bigger picture, what does the employment outlook actually look like this year? Is the job market improving at all in 2026?
Compared to last year, the situation has improved, but unfortunately, the domestic outlook this year is still not very bright. Let's take a look at this graph. According to Korea Employers Federation, 4 out of 10 domestic companies responded that their 2026 business plan will focus on maintaining the status quo, and 3 companies said they will adopt a tight management approach. And even large conglomerates answered that they plan to invest more overseas than domestically. So the 2026 Employment Market Survey also predicted that this year's hiring market will completely shift to a qualitative hiring system focused on a very small elite workforce due to all-encompassing spread of the artificial intelligence.
So even though conditions are marginally better than last year, many companies are still choosing to hold steady, and large firms are putting more of their investment overseas rather than at home. So given all that, why else does finding a jobs still feel so difficult for job seekers, especially for new graduates?
Yeah, I feel we already discussed the reasons, and even though things seem to be a little better, it's only really slightly, and many job seekers are rightfully not feeling so optimistic. Like we have mentioned, companies are reducing hiring overall due to prolonged economic stagnation as well as rising labor costs. And there's also growing evidence that AI is limiting opportunities, especially for entry-level job seekers. And even though when companies do hire, recruitment has shifted towards experienced candidates, which make the door even narrower for entry-level applicants. Adding to that, the number of people with college degrees have increased, so job seekers are unfortunately having to compete with even more people for the same position.
Right, so what we're seeing is not just fewer openings, but a structural shift with companies hiring less, favoring experience, and AI, of course, narrowing entry-level opportunities. So as this hiring slowdown drags on, Niall, are there new patterns emerging in how young people are approaching the job market now?
Yeah, previous analyses suggested that a person's first job in life can affect their wages and employment even 11 years into their career. Therefore, from a young person's perspective, it's more rational to aim for a good job, even if it took longer to prepare, rather than lowering their expectations and accepting a lower paid position. However, as the job-seeking gaps for people in their 20s and 30s have lengthened, the mindset has shifted more towards from any company will do as long as I get a job to expanding the job search even to security positions traditionally held by retirees. And the background for this is that these jobs have relatively simple qualification requirements and they're open for recruitments year-round, and they're seen as a safety net to ensure the employment gaps that are so painful to wait out.
And what's really interesting is that this goes beyond taking any job. Young people are now expanding their search into roles once seen as retirement jobs or kind of outside the traditional career track. So, Julian, what are the broader shifts in the types of young people, the jobs that young people are choosing, and what they define as a sustainable career?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, there definitely is a shift that people with the type of jobs that people are choosing. So as a result, this is redefining what a sustainable career means for our generation. For example, there has been an increase in people transitioning from white-collar jobs to blue-collar work, and more members of Gen Zers are choosing skilled trades over attending university. This has even led to the emergence of the term tool belt generation. Now, the major advantage often cited includes the idea that even if a company disappears, the skills one has honed remain, the ability to work without a mandatory retirement age, and the fact that compensation is really closely tied to the amount of effort put into the work. And at the same time, more young people are moving away from Seoul to rural areas. Some are even starting businesses by leveraging local resources, while others are just going towards more agriculture-related industries. But at the core of this trend is an effort to build competitiveness by focusing on industries that may not be so targeted by AI and only people can really perform.
So for blue-collar work to rural migration, young people seem to be prioritizing skills, autonomy, and long-term survival over traditional credentials. So Niall, what do you think these changes signal about today's job market and the choices young people are kind of being forced to make now?
Right. Unlike in the past, comparatively, when entering a specific company after university was considered very essential, choosing that one path that one person can take responsibility for clearly requires a sense of courage. And nowadays, with 1,900 young people neither job seeking nor working, a record high since statistics began back in 2003, simply not giving up almost feels like an impressive achievement. However, the phenomenon of young people moving down to senior type or low-wage jobs is not just a matter of individual choice. It's also a sign that internal mobility within the labor market has been blocked, and that's kind of unfortunate to see.
Right. So Niall's mentioned that these choices take courage and that simply not giving up has become an achievement of itself. So Julian, I know you are also in the process of looking for a job. What would you say is kind of the hardest part of looking for a job these days?
Yeah, for me, the hardest part is being patient. Now, I'm no longer considered entry level in my career, so some of the challenges that we discussed about recent graduates that they face don't really apply to me anymore. But that being said, I still have to play the uncomfortable waiting game, applying, interviewing, and then waiting to hear back from whether I got the job or not, and even just deciding if I want to take that job at the end of the day. On top of that, I feel like I've just been way more selective of what I want to do next, and I feel like I just definitely made this conscious decision to not settle. So even if it means taking a little more time to do the job search, I'd rather invest in the time to find the right role that really fits along with the career path that I'm looking and something I want to do long term. So yeah, patience.
So I think what you said really highlights how job searching is deeply personal and how priorities can shift with each stage of life. So this also made us curious about how young people today are weighing their options. So we ran a poll on Arirang News YouTube channel asking, what do you consider least when looking for a job? So here's what the results showed. A clear majority, 67%, said societal perception mattered the least, and 19% pointing to whether the job was related to their field of study, while job stability and salary ranked lowest for just 8% and 6% of respondents, respectively. So to me, what stands out here is that traditional priorities like salary and job security ranked far lower than expected, actually, while social perception appears to matter least of all. It suggests that for many young job seekers today, simply getting a foothold in the labor market may outweigh concerns that once defined a quote-unquote good job. So to get an insider's perspective on this, we're going to talk to a recruiter, and that conversation will take place right after the break, so don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search out channel Arirang News. Click Posts and cast your vote in the poll. Make a new type of news with us.
Joining us today is Sarah, the head of HR at Globalization Partners. Hello, Sarah. Thank you so much for connecting with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So what are some defining characteristics of young Koreans when it comes to choosing jobs today? For example, like the strong focus on preparing for exams.
I think when we look at young Koreans now, I'd say they're extremely strategic in how they choose jobs. The strong focus on exams, licenses, government positions, or big conglomerates isn't just obsession, it's a rational response to uncertainty. With high housing costs and a lot of anxiety about the future, they're trying to secure what they see as the safest possible path. At the same time, there's a shift. Alongside this traditional route, we're seeing more people wanting work that feels meaningful, flexible, in tech, creative industries, and startups or global companies. So there's a tension between the old model of stability and status and a newer, more global mindset that values purpose and work-life balance. Both are very present in this generation.
And would you say that young people overseas are also making similar career choices, or is this trend specific to Korea?
I don't think it's unique to Korea, but it does look different here. In many countries, young people are also taking whatever work they can get, delivery, retail, hospitality, blue-collar jobs, as a way to survive while they search for something more long-term. In that sense, Korean youth are taking security jobs or other so-called elderly jobs. That's part of a global pattern, actually. These roles are often a bridge, not the final goal. And what's more specific to Korea is the social meaning attached to those jobs. The hierarchy between good jobs, bad jobs is very strong, and certain roles carry a lot of stigma. So when a young person ends up in that kind of position, it can feel like a visible symbol of how tough the market is. And the economic reality is global, but the level of shame and pressure around those contexts is particularly intense in the Korean context.
Yeah, well, thanks for your answers. Just to wrap things up, in this fast evolving and increasingly challenging job market, what kind of efforts should young people be making? And at the same time, how does society need to change to better support them?
I think young people in society both have a role here. For young people, the most important shift is to think in terms of skills, not just job titles. Instead of focusing only on one exam or one dream company, it's useful to ask, what skills am I actually building on that will be valuable in the future? Things like digital literacy, communication, problem solving, and languages travel with you, even if your first job isn't perfect. And trying different things early on, internships, projects, short-term roles can be a strength, not a weakness, because it helps you learn what really fits you. But we can't just tell youth to be youthful when the system stays rigid. Employers and institutions also need to change, offering real feedback, training, clear growth paths, managers who give feedback and actually listen to what employees are saying as well. And as a society, we need to be less judgmental about nonlinear career paths. Changing fields, reskilling, taking a different route, some unconventional jobs, all can be a form of success as long as we make it a form of success as a society. So if we want young Koreans to navigate this fast-paced and fast-changing world successfully, we really need to share the responsibility together. It can't only sit on their shoulders.
Right, I think you gave us a great reminder about how there's things that people can do in both the individual level, the societal level, and also for the companies as well. So thank you so much for sharing your insight with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We've just spoken with someone from HR about how the factors shaping how young people in Korea choose their jobs, whether similar changes in career paths are also being observed overseas, and how individuals are being asked to adapt in new ways. So to close off our discussion for today, Niall, what are your hopes for the job market this year?
Yeah, I just want to add on top of what Sarah was saying about different career paths and how we view them here in Korea as well as other parts of the world. But for people to be free to choose what they really want to pursue, and that there will be more chances for young people to learn and grow. And the job availability for first-timers straight out of university is so slim. But not only do I hope that there will be more jobs available, but I hope there are quality jobs that these young people can want to settle in and provide for their families.
What about you, Julian?
Yeah, I share the same sentiment. I really do agree with that. Our generation really does truly deserve to feel stable and safe in our career. We should be able to get jobs that help us financially and also help us build wealth too. And many of us are already struggling to manage such high living costs on top of navigating a turbulent job market. So I really do hope that for our generation's sake that things just get better and that there be more opportunities for our generation to build wealth and build our careers.
That really captures how job searching isn't just about employment, but about transitions in life and how each step, even the stressful ones, shapes who we become. For today's young job seekers, finding work is no longer just about landing a position. It's about navigating change, redefining stability, and choosing a path they can sustain. And while the road may be difficult, the conversation that we've had today also shows how resilient this generation continues to be. So that brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation. But News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time with more stories and discussions. A big thanks to Niall.
No problem.
And also Julian.
Thank you for having me.
And to our viewers, thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope you have the best day. We are
News Generation.